Hey, Len Erickson here with another Purveyor of Light quick tip. Today we've got a nice, interesting one. It's actually the workflow differences between moving between Lightroom and Photoshop in regards to camera raw processing, specifically the before and after. I find the before and after tools of each product to be very helpful, and when I'm working on an image, I rely on them constantly through my workflow to see how I'm doing, whether I like the changes that I'm making at any given point. Unfortunately, there's no continuity between Lightroom and Photoshop. They can do some of the same things, but they don't do them in the same ways or in the same fashion. So you have to get used to each tool and then make adjustments depending on which tool you're working on. So here I have an image in Lightroom, and if I want to see a simple before and after, okay, of the edits, I've done some basic edits here, I can turn around and just simply hit the backslash key, and now I'm looking at the before image. Before any adjustments were made, I'm now seeing that image. Okay, and then hit the backslash key again, and I'm back to the final edit. Okay, I find that very helpful. Okay, and unfortunately, that functionality is unbelievably not available within Photoshop's Camera Raw, or at least I haven't found it yet myself. So that's one of the differences between it. We do have the ability to come here into the edit panel and turn individual editing panes off. In other words, here I have the tone curve and I have a little contrast S curve coming in here, and maybe I want to see the image with just that S curve, what the effect of that S curve is on the image. So I want to turn just that S curve on and off but leave everything else active. I can just simply hit the light switch, and now I'm turning off that tone curve, and I can see how the image looks before I apply the tone curve and after the tone curve. I find this very useful and a very powerful tool when I'm editing photos. Okay, and of course the last thing, of course, is they have the ability to do the before and after, which is, you know, the side-by-sides previews. Okay, which again is nice, handy, but for me, I personally find the master switch of hitting the backspace key and switching back and forth, so I can actually, my eyes seem to register and pop at what changes in the photo, and so I find this the most useful. Unfortunately, this is not available in Camera Raw in Photoshop. Okay, so there we go. That's Lightroom for previewing before and after. So let's go ahead and go into Camera Raw into Photoshop. Okay, and I have an image here with some basic edits again here in the panel. And you'll notice that I don't have the ability to hit the backspace key, the before and after. That doesn't work here in Photoshop. Like I said, that functionality, to my knowledge, doesn't exist. I wish it did. I would love to have a master before or after. You'll also notice down here, anywhere in the panel, I don't even have the ability to reset the photo. In other words, maybe I made these edits and I just want to restart from scratch. I've looked at the before and afters, and I decide I want to reset things. It's here in Photoshop, but it's hidden. Okay, if you look at these three buttons down in the lower right of the panel, open image, add cancel, and done. Okay, if you hover down there and you keep your eye on that and you hold your Alt or Option key, okay, you'll watch the buttons change. See, now it says open copy, reset, and done. I let go of the Control or Option key, and now the menu's there. So again, these are the peculiarities that a lot of people don't even know about in Photoshop and Lightroom, and how it differs. Okay, so again, if you want to reset an image because you've done the before and after and you're not happy with the edits and just want to reset and start over, you have to go ahead in Photoshop and hold the Alt or Option key and then hit reset. Okay, You'll also notice too that the panels here in Camera Raw don't have any light switches to turn the before on or after. Okay, again, they in Camera Raw they moved everything down here to the lower right. Okay, these 4 buttons. Okay, and each one of these buttons performs a different before and after effect. Okay, the first one is this classic before and after. So if I click that, I'm going to see the image split up with the before and the after on the right side. And if I hit the button again, I'm going to get now with a split image of the before and after. And if I hit again, now I'm going to get a top and bottom, and then I'm before and after. Okay? So I could cycle through that way on the previews before and after. Again, I don't find this as near as useful as I do in Lightrooms, where I can hit the backspace key and see the entire before and after. I don't find it as useful. I wish they would incorporate that in the Camera Raw in Photoshop. Or maybe it is here and I haven't found it. So if somebody does know that there is a master before and after single view look, by all means, please put that in the comments below. The second button here is the ability to swap the before and after. If you want to, in other words, if you want to swap the left for the right in the before and after, you can copy the third button is to copy the current settings to before. And then this here is probably the most useful, in my opinion, is the toggle between the individual editing panes. So this is the basic pane. So if I hit this down here, I reset that pane, and so I get it before I did any edits on this pane, and then I click it again to restore those. So that's kind of like Lightroom's light switch feature. Okay, so I can live with that, but again, you're gonna have to adapt when you're working from Lightroom to Photoshop on how things are done between the two. Okay, tone curve. Okay, we'll come into the tone curves, and let's do something here and say I want to convert to grayscale. Okay, so now I can create the grayscale, and if I want to undo that, I can come here and see the before and the after. Okay, so again, this is one individual editing pane at a time. Okay, and so that's the way it works. And again, I wish there was the way in Lightroom. I love this. I mean, I just it's a natural process for me. I work on an image. I've been editing it here in the panel. I've been doing all the adjustments, and I just love the fact that I can just hit the backslash key and get a look of the before where I started, and then hitting the backslash key and the after. That really makes the clearest communication to me before and after. So hopefully you found this semi-useful. And again, if Photoshop and Lightroom are very vast tools, and nobody knows everything. So if somebody knows that there is a way in Photoshop Camera Raw to duplicate Lightroom's functionality of a single pane before and after by hitting the backsplash key, please put that in the comments down below. Okay, so I hope you found this useful, and I'll talk to you next week. Take care.